We're currently in an ad. Just gonna try to remember what I was doing. I got in the fridge. Pretty much everything's set to go. We're going in the middle of this game. I'm not starting. I think it's pretty clear that I'm randomly doing it, and I also— Hi! Must be a Mario to do this. God damn it, did it fucking do that bullshit again? Thank you, though. Hello. I, don't feel like being 3D today. I guess I'll just— what should you call it? I will advance time. How are you doing?
Hello, anyone here?
What? I'm trying to rest, asshole. What do you want? Banners. Italian festival. Aren't we just doing seafood? I don't know what is Italian. I guess it does actually tell me which one it is. French. I can't look at them. Can I let me look at them? Okay. This one's just non-specific. Oh, I guess I have pasta. Oh, that's Italian. Okay. But I'm not making it today because I upgraded it. Helped someone move, then went climbing, then went climbing again in 3 days. That's a lot of climbing. That's a lot of climbing. We're gonna have storms tonight. I got tired of working on artwork. And I'm really like this game a lot. Storms as in, they will create tornadoes as in there was a tornado just this weekend. Last weekend, and what am I looking for? I'm looking for, there's a tornado just this weekend that was less than a mile away from me.
Sure thing. Right away.
Okay.
On it.
This game looks like— don't know yet. Yeah, I don't know how recent it is, but it's kind of maybe a little bit recent. It's like better cooking simulator. If you want a cooking simulator for shenanigans, it's not what you want. But I actually wanted to cook. I love tornadoes and close over. Yeah, we were out of power for 3 days. Hopefully it doesn't come close enough. So far the forecast seems like it's only going to hit the northwest and it's not going to come close to us again. Oh, good, I'm already making that. Give me your fish. Oh, you don't have the fish yet. Give me your shallots. I don't know if you're supposed to say that a certain way. You can only power walk because there's no running in the kitchen, which is perfectly fair. I already have the green beans. I made extra just for shits and giggles. What am I looking for? I know I'm looking for that. And
What task can I help you with?
this. And this. This can go straight up. I don't put it on that. This needs to be it up. Oh. That doesn't go in yet. Another one of these. Am I making on this? Oh, fish. Right. Oh, right, I need to flour it and shit. Ugh. Flour, that, and butter. Is that already ready to flip? Fuck, okay. That seems like it went fast. I don't have my seasoning. Shit. Wait. Refrain.
I don't know what to
A
order.
lot. Can you wait, Sam? I'm busy. Perfect. Cool. Medium, well done. Okay. Start. Oh, I gotta flour. Flour! Press the thing. I don't know why there's not like an autofill. Take everything out of my inventory, please. You're going on the second one. Okay, you're good. Stir. Wait, no. I always forget. I stir and then I forget I need that. There's no seasoning for that one, I don't think. Eesh. I think it's supposed to heat up.
I need a challenge.
Start. Is there already more customers? Oh shit. This is gonna be a day, isn't it?
Leave it to me. No problem.
Okay. And put the butter. Just go ahead and speed you up. I can make one, I believe. I can make this really fast. And then I get to just go run to the fish. I probably should have left it on high. Oh, psh, that was fine. Alright. Spread that. Green beans. You can do prep work before the day, which I really like. Prep work makes me feel better. What am I missing? Oh, right. Forget the way it does this. It's kind of weird sometimes. But I like this game a lot. I've only had like 5 hours in it, but I'm liking it so far. Beans and fries?
Do you need my help for anything?
Oh, it's shallot? It's onion, a type of onion. Alright, I can make that one pretty easily. If you could clean and cook, but you can't, my friend. F. Ugh. Ugh, number one, number two. Oh, you don't even have a thing on you. It's fine. Okay. That's taking too long. I'm not doing this in the correct order. Here. Give me this, give me this. This. I still need to flour you.
Feel
Fuck.
free to get me working on something. I can help.
Dude, I'm busy at the moment. How's it cooking? It just started. The game's... I don't know if it's ramping up per se, or... Yeah, it kind of is ramping up. I always do this, and I forget that I need to stick that in there. That just needs to go straight up. Multitasking. A lot of salt, not enough black pepper. I don't like that it changes each time. Okay. Oh, get out of here. So that. Why does it look like that? I don't think it's supposed to look like that.
I don't have anything to do.
I don't remember it looking that. I know. Let me throw out butter. Okay. Oh, shit. No, right. Butter. Hey.
Okay.
Just keep busy.
Okay.
What is... Oh. I don't think you can actually have, like, a fire. I didn't flip it. Well, they're getting it anyways. I didn't flip it. That always cooks faster than I think it does. Can you finish this pretty quickly? I'm gonna get the green beans. Hopefully it shouldn't go too fast. Or faster. And they wanted it rare. Are you winning? I'm doing okay. I forgot to flip a steak. So on that bottom edge, it's not done. You can creatively do stuff, but like, there's too much to do. Oh wait, there's that other one. Okay, hold on.
A new table of customers has just ordered.
Oh, come on. Okay, this is getting a little bit more intense than it was. Just ramped up. What's nice about this game is that you can turn off a lot of stuff. Oh, perfect. I can do this. Easy. Wait, what? Oh, I didn't serve it. This one's easy because I can pre-make it. What am I? Brain. Wait. Cucumbers. Fuck. I thought it was... Oh. Shit. Okay. I remembered wrong. So let me send that one out. The other ones I should be early on. I just had to chop some cucumbers. I'll make him do one and then I'll do one. Gordon Ramsay today. I mean, we are a Michelin star chef. That one. Yes, that one. Okay. Yeah, you. Hey. Hey.
Leave it to me.
This game is like branded by Michelin or whatever. I should have put 2 just anyways. This is like this is a few days in. I don't know how many days in, but can you? Hey! Fuck it. It does that sometimes. Most of the time it's not too bad, but that one kind of is. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but it's not. It's pretty quick. So far, there's only been 3 tables per thing, and I skipped past the tutorial that like tells you how to expand, but I'm too scared to expand right now. I'm too.
Plating, chef. Makes you want to eat it.
I'm too scared because I don't have another chef. I love that she posed as part of the spring bar. That should be everybody. Hey, make something real quick. Just get your skill level up.
Right away.
Sparkling, and I don't know why. I'm doing this, but
No problem. We did a good job
there we go.
today.
Stop.
And we'll do even better tomorrow.
You can do stuff at the end, and I don't know why. Only 85. That's okay. Getting a lot more money because of that. I upgraded the. Let's see. On my menu, I have. We currently have. Beef and potatoes, which is upgraded, so it's worth 30 now. That one can be upgraded. I have to take it off the menu. That one can be upgraded. I have to take it off the menu. Probably upgrade the summer soup. The only thing I don't like is that I can't go back to be like something easier. And then I made a bunch of other stuff, but I think I have to put that on the menu, even though it's really annoying. Are you sick? Sick on the couch? Aw. I'm doing the cook. So my friend here wants to make this thing, but I'm assuming the upgraded version of this, so I have to make it a lot. But it's really complicated. I don't wanna, but I think I have to. I think it's story, if I remember correctly. Can I leave? Yeah, okay. But after this day, time is not passing. What did he want? Sole cooked in a whipped lemon, butter, and green beans. Is that not what I made? Okay, I don't think it's fennel silver. Oh yeah, that's not what it is at all. Where is yours? Italian seafood. Oh right, so when you create these, It's not too complicated. When you have to create these, you have to create them in the day before the service and just kind of send them in. Oh, I didn't know I didn't collect those. I have 5 regular customers. I feel like I have a lot of regulars, but... Golden coupon? What is that? I have knowledge points. So what did he want? He wants... So this is Soul Roulette. Oh, it's Soul... That's not what I thought it was. He wants me to learn this thing, and I don't know where I... Oh. Badge. Badge? I don't know where the thing is that he wants me to make. I don't have it. Alright, so tomorrow I'll need seafood. Or no, sorry, seafood and Italian, which that's really easy to make a bunch of that. I never made pasta with Italian cheese. You have to cook twice, that's annoying. So we're not doing that one. So we'll just make a bunch of those. This is, another one is seafood. Oh, soul related. That's probably makes sense. That's also seafood. Yeah, okay, so we're gonna make a bunch of that, and then figure out something else. We're gonna take this off the menu to upgrade it. Or should I do it first? This is the most planning I put into it. Just go the next day. I should check what the golden coupons are for. Two golden coupons. What are those for? Oh. Garnishes. Mostly annoyed I'm too sick to stream leading into my birthday. I know, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know what the coupons are for. I don't need anything. Still can't need to gain more experience. Make the progress in this character's story to unlock the next level. But I can. I don't know how you make that. 3, 3. Okay. Yes, you can. I am very custom. Hold on. Is there... Oh, this is Italian and... Oh, no, that one's... These look very... These are Italian, right? Okay. So this is Italian. I can only submit to 1, though. Yeah, I can only submit to 1. So... This... I'm actually wasting time right here, but... So we're gonna take this off. Why can't I get rid of this? Oh, I have to have 3. Right, that's why. I'll do that. Adding more sophisticated dishes, you make your entire menu evolve. Your dishes become more expensive, but your customers also have a higher expectation for the quality of the ingredients used and the technical execution of the dish. You can also choose to lower the prices on your menu. This will have an impact on your customers' expectations. If you want to service less demanding customers, considering lowering your prices. But if you want a harder challenge to increase your profits, try raising your prices. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. We'll go with that. You can have 5, but I'm already a little inundated.
What do you need today?
We're going to discount. Oh, don't mind if I do. Over 5. Can have an extra one. We have money at the moment. We do. This is the first time I've gotten extra stuff. Oh, I only need 5.
Consider it delivered, chef.
Your responsibility if you do bad stuff, your responsibility goes down. Okay, I don't actually need that. What do I need? Green beans. That's what I need. Green beans are very easy to make. It has, like, details in the recipes, and I'm not showing that, like, green beans are better if you... Oh, I'm not stocked yet. Okay. Green beans are better if you, whatchamacallit? Brain. You warm the pot first. Okay. You have all this time until the bell. Oh no, okay, I might get this. It's not super in-depth, but it's nice. It's a lot of process, and like I said, there's a bunch of, like, options where you don't have to be on a time limit and other stuff. Nothing can burn. So this is... I need 2 of these. What about this? I can freeze. I don't think I need to. I don't actually know how long they stay. Oh, it does tell me. Hold on. This expires in 3 days. That's fine. I can use those. Are those unlocks or just accessibility? No, they're after your first, or I think after you finish the tutorial, you can turn them all on. Like before, I don't know if you have to do your first day or not. Either way, it's like really early. Oh, I can see that. Yeah, whatever, I don't care. This is mostly for me. So we'll say, every time, it says, like, different things depending on if it should be 3 or 2. And it's non-consistent. It changes each time. It's random. 1 or 2 things. Every time I do extra when I'm pretty sure it's 3, it says no fuck you, and I'm just like, can you please? That's not what I wanted. Go back. Oh, I can't. Can I not put you back? Oh wait, place. I don't want you. I want this. Looks like there's a lot of options. You don't actually have to mash this. You have to mash it when you chop things, so. Get the flour, because I always forget the flour. 2 flour. That. I need these things and I'm not sure why. I don't remember needing them. Wait, no, I need... Okay. Because I made them more complicated, that's why. I have to look up the other recipe of how I did that before, because I forgot! And the staff get there in the early morning, but they don't do anything besides clean, because it says, like, use, like, hey, help prep food, and, they can't do it before the actual service, so, like, they just clean. I'm not sure exactly why they're there. Huh? Oh. Ugh. So, what's nice is that, when you, oh, flour, right. When you're actually doing the, whatchamacallit? Brain. Dinner. When you're actually doing the evening service, it locks out all the options that you have. It locks it out. So you can only grab things that are needed or my brain's not working. Yeah, I should be able to. Like now I have all these options. And you don't really need it. Have them afterwards so you don't have to worry about grabbing things you don't want. Okay, got the other one. I may have bit off more than I could chew trying to do these all in one fucking day. Let me look at the book really quick. How do I do the fancy schmancy one? I should know because I'm serving it tonight. Blend. Okay. Basil, nuts. I don't think I need any of that. I don't have room for all right. The other one there. But yeah, you can also decorate the way you put it down and stuff, but I haven't done that just because I don't think it takes extra time. I think it pauses the game, but I'm more wanting to get them out than anything. Oh, when did I do that? I mean, I can do that, but currently... Oh, right. Nope. I actually do that. Oh, I didn't have to get multiple basil and stuff because it makes 3 pesto. Some stuff makes, it says 3 light dishes. I thought it was Italian. Whatever. This should tell me what I need. Blended pesto. Olive oil.
Fantastic menu today.
Hey, cheese for? I already have it. I just had an extra. I don't have to season it or anything, so. Oh. This, I still need the... Actually. Let's go on. Most annoying part is making this. Alright, let me see what to do again, because I forgot. That one. T2 high, stir. Okay. Should be able to mix one. No, not because I have to season them and all that other crap. You can turn the heat strength to go faster, but if you're certain of them, like this one doesn't want it to be too high. But this one's a pain in the ass. I wish I could just make it by, like, a giant bucket full. There's a refrigerator and a warmer, so, like, this big pot will stay on the warmer. The 3 spots right here won't stay. Everything in the refrigerator will stay. That's at the same time. I'll need like one of those. Oh, I do need to stir it again. Same with fire in terms of grabbing all these.
Top of my game today. You
Oh
can
right, these are
count on
different fucking things. Ugh. Alright. This is different. It's actually less intensive. Alright, what do you want? A lot of salt. It says a lot, and usually that means 3, but it's not always the case. Not enough salt, see? I don't like this part, that it's random. I'm like, I want to remember. I should be able to just remember. Alright, I have to actually shove these somewhere. Oh, pesto. Messing around with too many things. Pop, pop, pop. Perfect. See? That was a different amount. Oh yeah. I bit off more than I could chew. Doing this. Oh. See? Too much. Asshole. I put pepper in there. That's fine, probably. Gonna remake it. You lose. It's not reputation. It's whatchamacallit? Responsibility is what it's called if you waste food. And it's just like, you suck. What do I need here? Oh, I need. Okay. I can't wait until I didn't do this correctly and I made all these for no reason. See, it's only menu. 4 times menu with the theme of unpretentious. Deliver steak with shallots and... Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do that. This was the last day.
I can't wait to start the evening service. Our customers will be blown away.
I can put these in here at least. Can't do anything with those. Or I don't think I can. I can. Sure. That's not on my menu though. Is it on my menu? I think it's on my menu. Yes. Okay, there's 2 of those gone. Yeah, I can just totally make those as is. Cool. Alright, and I have these. Alright. I'll make one more. Just to make sure I have it. At least make one more of these, not the other one. And you don't have to clean up before... Like, when your evening service happens, it, like, takes stuff away. And it doesn't count towards anything, so it's fine. You can't pre-make the whole dishes per se. You can,
How's it going today?
whatchamacallit? You can pre-make parts of them. Anything that can be refrigerated and things that can go on the warmer. The big pot on the warmer. can be pre-prepared. So you can't make absolutely everything, but you can make a good amount. And that's kind of part of, I guess, like the challenge is like picking things that you can work together to make. Can you fuck off? No, don't want that. So those were two different parts of a thing, but if I put them together, it wouldn't have let me do it. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, it's making this. I need that's what I need. And don't grab it. Take the whole pot. There's more green beans that I'm never gonna need, but I don't think you have to turn this off. It doesn't matter, but do it anyways. Oh, and stop. Oh, I only need one. Wait, why do I don't need a cucumber. I only need those, I think. Need a metal tray. I mean, I can look. Right, okay. And then this has to cool, but we're not, doesn't matter. This is for the actual service, and we have room for one extra thing. So I guess we shall make no, I'll make the floured. That's actually a two-step process. And my sous chef Kasim can just make me a beef chunk perfectly fine. I can make 2 beef chunks. 2 beef chunks, 2 pepperoni and potatoes for fries. Alright, I have this extra thing. Oh well. Anything weird in my menu that I didn't pay attention to? I may have done that.
Okay.
Nope. Oh, we're good. Alright, so I have room. I don't understand why I can't, like, use anything down here. I can only use the top, which is very sad. Oh yeah, I made an extra one of these and I don't need to make it. You can't waste materials using them. Once you stock the shelves, I think those are unlimited. Alright, a little bit of time. Let's see if I've unlocked some stuff. Oh, I have unlocked different. No, I haven't. I'm not level 10 yet. I think I was gonna get a shirt, but I didn't have money back then. You can also decorate everything, and I just don't. I don't think the decoration does anything. Alright, I can get one more of these. Get one more of these. I don't need that. I wonder what the experience means, because I can't make his thing. Okay.
Chef.
Yes. What am I doing? Customers. This one's out of the way, but it's just there for now. Yeah, so this will... Oops. Reset the day. Alright, I want you to make... This. I was gonna make one other thing. That, sure.
Thing.
Make that. I just pre-make one of these. Butter. Butter. Oh wait, I'm not making fish. I took the fish off there for a reason. To upgrade it, and I didn't do it. Alright, I don't have to do any of that. Shit. Hello, Angelona. I did things that I didn't need to. Oh well. Oops. Actually. Hello, how are you? I am doing things. I need that. New order. Okay, okay. Take this. Take that. I'm doing good. There's gonna be storms tonight, the possible tornadoes, but I think it's gonna be okay. You have nothing to do, my friend. Well, find something to do. And by find something to do, I will tell you to make
Sure thing.
F. Alright, I need the shallots. Right, I can make this anyways. I just have to pay attention and flip it this time. I need my seasoning. Tornadoes are wild. I mean, I've lived in Tornado Alley my whole life. Or pretty much my whole life. Oh. I made all this green bean for nothing. I guess I made the light dishes and whatnot, but... What do you... Oh, it wants super well done. Okay. You're not done with the... Chop faster.
What task can I help you with?
Put it down one while I plate this. Down two, actually. What do I need shallots for? I need it for this, right? I do, actually. Yeah. I made it better. Like my designer? This thing? For my character? I didn't get these out fast enough. I mean, they're fast. It's halfway is... Like, getting it right now is 85 out of 100. It's still pretty good, but... I would like it to be faster. Alright.
On it.
I don't need...
Right away.
I'll make it anyways, but I don't need it. Okay. How am I needing from you? More shallots is what I need. You take forever and a year. I'll make one of my own and then have you as a backup. Not design the dishes, unfortunately. Cannot take credit for that. This one I can just waste time because have plenty all the time in the world. I'm just gonna make this, stick it on the warmer. So there's 3 tables, I think. At one point in time, I had it 4 people do it at one time, and I was like, oh my god. Okay. Oh. I will have to actually make more of this if I get another one requested. Which means I should probably do that. Okay. Which means I need to make room for you.
No problem.
Because the max size it can be is, I think, 4 people. Oh, they just arrived. Okay, that's cool. What am I doing? I know what I'm doing.
Looks delicious, chef.
No, it's not. Go faster. Play this game, but I put it with delivery time of dish. I almost go crazy. And motor coordination, yeah, it could probably be pretty difficult. Alright, I need more pesto. Forgot, I keep thinking it's like super easy, and just like, wait, no, I made it more complicated. Darn my complicatedness. Which was that. Wait, actually get it. New order. Oh. So none of that. Doesn't matter.
Don't
Cool.
know what to work on.
I'm losing myself. Oh, rip. Okay, and then I also need shots.
Feel free to get me working on something. I can help.
I know, my friend. I'm trying to juggle tasks. Really wish you could do things by yourself.
Hey,
So 2 of those. Oh, so I need. That's almost done. That's almost done. Do I have fries? Yes, I do. Cool. Wait, what is that? Oh, I already have. Fuck. And I want it well done. I don't need you. Joke's on me when I suddenly get more people somehow. Oh. It's so far hard to find music that was more upbeat but chill,
I'm available.
because they all want to be like really soft music, like 1 a.m. Animal Crossings, and I'm just like, no. I want some. Oh, fuck, cucumbers. Hey, you. Make me cucumbers.
Leave it to me.
Customers are arriving? What do you mean? Customers are arriving. Oh, shit. I'm not supposed to have 4 in one night. No, things are getting harder. And these are dead. This will be the death of me. And then I'm also out of this too. Oh god, please don't order this. Please don't order this. This takes a long time. Oh yeah, this will suck. Oh god. You only have 5 per item. Eat that. Oh, I don't have any. Okay, I gotta clean.
Feel free to get me working on something.
Pick it up.
I can help. We have the order from the new tailor.
Shit. I need everything. Oh my god, I didn't realize. Do I not have any of that? Oh, wait, no, I still have that left. Look at that. Let me make this so you're not completely unhappy. That makes 4. Perfect. Phone typing too slow? Yeah. Okay. Should have finished that thing anyways, just for goodness sake. Okay. Can't really tell what's happening. I'm cooking. I got things on the top, right.
I'm available if you need anything.
Oh, my friend, do you have... Thank you. Thank you for having that. Oh, what? What do you want? You want beer done? Oh, right. Fucking shit. Fries. Oh, I didn't add the thing. Second level. Oh, stop.
What task can I help you with? Sure thing.
Make anything. I didn't need to make 2, but I guess I had time anyways. But yeah, you get customers, and I got 4 customers. First it was only 2, and then it was 3, and I guess now we're on to 4 per night. I don't know how much more this gets to be. This should be the last. Because it doesn't, the time at the top doesn't, like, tell you. There's not a specified timer amount.
Well done, everyone.
Okay, there we go.
That was a great service.
Yeah. And all this stuff I don't have to clean up. Ooh, yeah, they're a little upset. Why were they upset? What did I do wrong there? I can check, actually. I know, I don't know how to get them. What do you mean? Why was it 75? Is it just because it took that long? Oh, okay. Alright. Learn a new recipe. Look at all this stuff. That's 3 different recipes. It's time. Did I finish this one? I did! Wait, no. Oh, I see. Complete 3 services with a menu theme. What's a menu theme? So I had to make them all. Can you choose what to unlock? Yes, I can choose which one to unlock. Hello, Professor Cypress. I'm doing pretty good. You can keep it simple. Yeah, like there's no costs that go up. The costs are based on what your ingredients you're getting. So that doesn't scale. I think the amount of people you get per night scales, but so far everything else is your own pace. So I need spaghetti for everything. What do I have? Italian pasta with Italians, but I've never made it, so I can't make it. Meatballs and sauce I can make. So you had to have a minimum of 3 things, though. I don't want to... I'm not gonna do that challenge yet. But the challenges, I think, or the story progression will give you more things. Probably, like, access to, like, another fucking chef. So seafood. This is seafood. Is strip fish and seafood? Oh, some of these icons don't come up correctly. Spaghetti with clams has both Italian and seafood. But I have to make it once first. I have to make it first. Let's see. This doesn't look like it should be too hard. That requires cooking. This one looks like maybe you won't have to cook. Alright, let's look at... So if I do this for Italian beef, I need a meat slicer, sliced beef thin, chopping board, blender. This is a little more annoying than I really want it to be. Ugh. I mean, it's because it's a better thing, obviously, but so you can use lean beef. Oh, that's different. Okay. I have to prepare 2 things. Okay. Choose well. Slice thickness. Thin. Slice them thin. Okay. Onion. Blend some lemon. You don't need anything. Just chop it. Okay. Mixing table. Marinating dish. Okay. Spices are that. Prepare this dish beforehand. Keep it in the refrigerator. That's just the chop. That's chopped. That together. Slice thickness. Perfectly seasoned. Oh, then you refrigerate it. Okay, you don't have to actually have to cook anything. Oh, this is great, actually. This is actually fucking awesome. Awesome as hell. I have to learn... Tomorrow I have to make it to learn it. I can't make anything tonight. And then the other one I made... This one. Dough workstation. Pasta machine. Oh! Okay. Dough. Pasta. Cook spaghetti with some salt. Chop some garlic. Put a bunch of shit in there. At different points. Oh. And cover. Oh. I'm not gonna make that one. Well, no, I need the theme, so I need 3 of them. So there's this one, this one, this one, this one. Oh, I can do a few of them. But not that one. Meatball is... You only cook once with the meatballs. It's just process heavy. But I don't have to make it this time, so... I already know how to make that, so I can do that. So we'll do... meatball and sauce. Brise. And then... Did I already look at this and just already... Oh, just... Yeah, fucking... Pasta. Oh, I gotta make that. So I gotta make the pasta. And... Wait, no. Oh, that was for seafood, but I'm not doing... the seafood one yet. So just, okay, pasta with Italian cheese, meatballs and sauce. Grease. Oh, and this was the one that was like really okay. Remember these three. But we have to. Okay, tomorrow though we're learning just pasta with Italian cheese. Okay. Tomorrow we shall learn pasta with Italian cheese.
Can I come in?
What do you want? Oh yeah, I finished a thing. Fuck, they're friends. Word of mouth. Oh, that was it. Okay. So we were gonna take something off, weren't we? I don't need to though. Unless I want to upgrade the summer soup. Oh, but it's already so easy to make. Problem is when you upgrade something, it doesn't tell you how much harder it gets. Like what's the process is. You can't look at the recipe beforehand. Okay, I gotta switch this out with something. We'll switch it out with Old Faithful. Oh, right, I was gonna upgrade that one, but I never did. I'd rather upgrade the soup, actually. Okay. We have 2 things to make.
What do you need?
Alright. Over 5 units. And we have 3 fish. Because I got more. Alright, because it's 4. Yeah, we'll do that.
Consider it done.
I'll just have to grab things that are older. Expires in 2 days. Okay. Expires 14 days, that's fine. That's fine. Fine. To grab those first. I can't FIFO it. We're not making green beans. I don't need that. We are making grease. We will need this bullshit. Actually, we also still have the soup. No, we took the soup off. Didn't we take the soup off? I forgot already. Oh, we are making fish. Okay. Because we're making- oh wait, hold on. Before we start any of these,
Your day's order is here.
let's pin the things that I actually were going to make right now. Before we prepare for the day. We are making this. Just this, right? Yeah, we're just gonna make that. Okay. Okay. Let's get the... that. Oh. Alright, let's look at the recipe book. I need the recipe book closer. Oh, right, I need to make... need these things. Not those things. I need to buy them. I should have enough money to buy them, unless they're too expensive. So I needed, that. And that. That's it? Okay. Okay. Alright, what's done? Pull the spaghetti. Easy. Chop. cheese, cook, grated, and water. Close the lid of the second one. Water afterwards. Avoid heat too low. Pepper. Oh, that took a lot more heating than I thought it did. It's like spaghetti. And then that, and put the spaghetti after you put in the sauce. Oh, that's it. Okay. Okay. One of these. Well, that was something else that I need. I didn't actually need those things. I forgot. Nope. Nope. Wait, is that all I need? That's really all I need. So is it only 3 ingredients? Yeah, okay. That's actually a lot easier than I thought it was. A lot of salt. Just making sure. Oh, start cooking with boiling water. Too late. It's fine. I don't have to make it good the first time. Cut the cheese. Or grate the cheese. Excuse me. Oh, this takes a while. Oh, that was done fast. Grated water, black cover. Good. Water, black cover. That was too much. Oh well. I'd avoid too low of heat, but not too high. And then I only said for the first portion, so I think you take it off the other portion. Wait, hold on. I want this to get cold. Hello, Corey. Did I just stir this? I don't. Okay. And then and put this here. How are you, Corey? Let me look at how to do this. Okay. That and that. Stir. Just got home from work? Nice. Oh, there's multiple. Oh, this makes multiple. Okay, that's good to know. That's nice to know, actually. I had to make multiple spaghetti. But
What you're doing is great. Keep
thank
it
you. Wait, what? Oh, I thought I was making the... Wait, I made the other stuff. Wait. Oh, I put it together and then it makes 4. Okay, wow. Am I serving it? I can't serve it there. Now I just get free food that I don't eat. That won't stay. Okay. Alright, so I know that recipe now. I can't change my menu. I have fish on this, right? Yes. Okay, so we're making some green beans. Since we have more people, I will actually... Oh, does that make multiple... Oh, that's just gross. Okay, never mind.
I learned a little technique for this job.
Did you now? Oops. I want to make 2 things of... Yeah, I don't have anything else to warm. I didn't mean to do that. Fucking hate that. I don't want to take it. Thankfully, it doesn't matter when you
We make a good
do
team.
stuff.
It's great that I can count on you.
You don't even cook, you just prepare ingredients. That's all you do. So if you press space, you'll take it out of it, but if you can pick up the whole pot with everything in it and put it on the warmer. And that's the only thing I need that's to be warmed, so. Alright, so let's see. Our table of contents is making that. Right, I think roll that, which I don't. I'm so bad at menus. I'm so bad at menus. Okay. I only need 1 thing of pesto. And the pesto is... blinded by light, yeah. I'm gonna put 2 of those on
I saw
there.
what you did the other day, and it
So
gave
we're
me
gonna-
a great idea.
The music is low when I put it on the TV. Nothing you can do about that. I mean, I can make it a little bit higher. It always seems, hold on. Just fucking it always seems, just a touch. You always say that, but I don't know if everyone says that. It seems loud enough to me, usually. This one's seasoned? It's not seasoned. Alright, I need more of this. A thing on every stream. Oh. Back onto your phone, you could hear it fine. Okay, then. That got a little bit louder compared to that music. So I will turn. Already been an hour.
Let me know if you need a hand.
I made 3 things of pesto. Oh, that's because all I had to do was that. I'm only gonna make 2. This extra pesto is just gonna sit here. No. No. Okay. I need a what? Orange. Also need so carrot orange. Stop. I always forget what to do after I get them. If I can remember, what do I need for the... Wait, did I take the... I might have took the thing off. Hold on. I was gonna upgrade this, actually. Fresh mint, grapeseed oil, bread. No. No. Give me my old suit back. Give me my old suit back. This doesn't even have carrots in it. This is a different recipe. No. No. Give me my old suit back. I didn't mean to quit. Sorry. I meant to go back to menu. Give me my suit back. My face is hot. Oh, you said stretch. I forgot. I didn't see it. Ugh. Why is my face so hot? Probably end after this day. No. No. Why would you do this? Why would it completely change? Oh. I hate you. Blended tomatoes. What is this? Cold tomato soup, mint oil. What was the mint oil? Okay. Mint grapeseed. Hold on. Mint grapeseed bread, blend, basil, mixing tray, refrigerator, celery. Okay. Ugh. Why won't you do this to me? I don't even need these because you got rid of them. These are different recipes. What's wrong with you?
I learned a little technique for this job.
What's my favorite recipe? That was very easy. Okay. Bread, celery. It says don't cut those other ones. Oh, does it make a whole thing? Oh, if that's... Okay, that's not too bad. I don't know why I did that, because I can't make this, but...
We make a good team.
Mint oil.
It's great that I can count on you.
Oh, this seems to be not so bad, compared to what I thought it was, actually. Oh, yeah, this is easy. Never mind. I complain for no reason. Hello, Rika! We be cooking. I'm learning a new recipe. Give me the... Shit, I fucked up. Oh, that's not cool yet, that's why. I'm learning a new recipe. I'm running chef. Oh my god, it is almost time for the service, and I don't have anything prepared. Hello. Hello, I have a feeling I'm going to be in trouble. Oh, that only makes one? It only makes one. Okay, I do hate this recipe. I lied. I absolutely hate this recipe. You be cooking. I'm a small sprite today, because I didn't feel like, doing that. Okay, I made it. Still need to make that. Still haven't done it. Oh, fuck. I don't have a lot of time. I got distracted. No. Stop. There are many things happening. Well, at least just bread some fish. Alright. Here. Look, some fish. Well, how is everybody? How was the stream? We're gonna finish this day and then we shall be done. Nope, I don't want that. So, I kind of want to abandon this right now because... Oh, I'm not prepared. But again, I have to play this anyways. There's autosave, so... Wow. Service available. I'm not ready. Stream was good. Annoying Power Wash Sim is more OCD about cleaning than I am. Oh yeah. It's definitely a game like that. I do have some stuff. Oh yeah, take that because... Oh. I've run out of... Oh. Alright. That'll be it. Alright.
Feel free to get me working on something.
Yes, I know. Right now. I want you to work on that,
Sure
that.
Right away.
Turning this on. I already made green beans, at least. There's that. Right? Okay, just make sure. Just gonna play these together while we're waiting. Yeah, I never played Power Wash. Like, I like games like that, but also not to the degree to which it is.
The table has just ordered.
Okay. Alright. I need more fries.
Leave it to me.
You'd also be just faster. It's got co-op. Oh yeah, Power Wash Simulator does have co-op, that's true. Oh, then Anna Fish. Oh, this day's gonna suck. Oh, there's a Gumber? There's a Gumber? Oh. Right, I have to make that thing too. Oh, I made my things complicated and it's really annoying. Alright. Alright, just gotta remember to actually, you know. That's not what I make it in. That's what I make it in. Oh, I didn't pick up the... Oh, you weren't done with them yet. Okay. Flip, 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 flip. Not yet.
What task can I help you with?
Buddy, I'm going. Things are getting more hectic. That's only because I'm out of time. Okay, they just want it like that. Okay. Warmer. Haven't even started on the fish. Don't mind me drinking all your chalky milk. I've not made chocolate milk. I haven't not made anything with, like, milk besides, like, you know. Okay. Like, whatchamacallit? Things with cheese in it. That should be enough. Well, I drank it all, that's true. That's actually makes sense. Okay. I'm gonna have to clean plates. I feel like I should have other people by now, and I don't. I definitely feel like I should be having other people to help me by now. But I don't. I just may have to look at it. Oh, cool, customers have appeared.
Do you need my
I need
help, friend?
people. Put it over there. Put on the beef. Don't I have another beef? Ugh! Take 10 years to do that. I want theirs well done. Was that the noise of... That was the noise of... Oh, God.
What to work on?
Oh, good. Save me. It's got harder. Thought it was easy. Then it got harder. Then after this, I gotta go flip the steak. Look, I know you want other things to do, but I'm currently busy. Nope, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to serve. Serve! Serve! Damn it! Oh, shit. Don't worry, you're getting it well done. It'll be fine. Hey, you.
No problem. Okay.
Right, the fish. The fish I haven't even touched. Why'd this suddenly get harder? What else did I... Fish. Wait, I already had one fish. I did. Hello, Nessie. This is the well done one. That table's gonna be mad. Oh, 2 things of fish. Okay, cool. Okay. Didn't I have like at least... I have 2 fish. Okay, good. Hello, thank you for following. Wishy, hello Wishy. I am dying. Not dying, but like, you know. Things are happening very fast. And I need... Please no one else come in. They're very mad. Did that make that a really sad noise? Look, I know. I'm sorry. Oh, I don't have a... Fuck. Guys came in too fast. I don't have to worry about that, and then I'll have green beans. Let her cook. I'm trying.
I need a challenge.
You need a challenge? I need... You don't... Yes, fuck Twitch. Wait. Actually, I don't know. God, I can cook these faster. Yeah, you're already mad, so nothing you can do about it. Is that why I feel I basically never see you live here? No, I'm still live here. I don't do PeerTube much often. I just have it as an alternative.
Available if you need anything.
That was the sound of more people. Must be time zone? Yeah, I haven't streamed a lot, but it's not particularly because of Twitch or anything like that. It's just that would be. Oh, that is the sound of more people. Time-wise, hopefully they should only have one more person come in. If we need the Caprice, though, shit out of luck. Which, speaking of, I should probably just, make that. Yeah. Okay, don't need that. Oh god. Need even more shit. Why? God. Assholes. Just gonna clean this right now. I should be multitasking, but we're just gonna clean it right now. Hey, friend, I need, more these. Thank you.
Thing.
Someone to help clean. I mean, I can redo my menu after I finish this day, even though I'm not gonna. go after this day. This will be the last day. Okay. And this was, they're both well done. Okay. Which means we're gonna fucking... Yes.
I don't have anything to do.
Yeah, that's fine. And then the fish is just like, fuck you. I don't... 3 cooked meals? Why didn't you guys want... I mean, I guess you did want salads too. Or I didn't make any, because I didn't have any prepared. Okay. No! Damn it. Oh, give me the shots!
I need a challenge.
Shut up. And I can't make this go any faster. I can do. Let's take this. New order? What do you mean? The fuck do you mean? What do you mean? What am I doing? God damn it. Make it harder. Make it harder.
I don't know what to work on.
You and work on shutting up. No. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look it up because I definitely am supposed to be having more time than this. Or more help than this. Or... Yeah, you can't even make the pesto. You're so... You're helpful. Right? Usually miss weekday streams due to being at work. Yeah. Stream at odd times. No consistent time, really. No, I don't want to make that. Butter. They're about to be mad, but you know what? You're not to stay mad. Do I even need to make pesto?
Do you need my help for anything?
Yeah, I would need more help on not your current, what you're doing. No, not that. Not that, not that. Yes, that, and yes, that. I just can't do it yet. Okay. Take, shit! Ugh! Get harder! Yeah, I'm missing something. I'm supposed to have help by now, I think. Got lucky today, yeah. So I'm about to end soon. We're going for 1 minute and 40. It's gonna take me like another so often to do that. Okay.
Feel free to get me working on something.
Shut up.
Help.
Okay. No, I want that. Yes. Yeah, they're just gonna have to take their sweet fucking time. Cheese and... oh no, the... olive oil. And it's very strict because it's by Michelin that they're like, no, you can't, run while in the kitchen. She's like, I know, but I need, no. That.
I'm available if you need anything.
Yeah, it's gonna take forever anyways, just fucking.
Customers will be disappointed if the orders aren't served.
Shut
fast
up!
enough.
No one asked you! I don't need the metal thing. I already got one. Oops. Oh my god, why so much salt? Okay. Up.
What task can I help you with?
Help me with being more useful. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look up why suddenly got a lot harder. Today did not go as well. Hey you. I hate you and everything you stand for. Wait, can I go back? Even though there's someone here? Am I allowed to leave? Only 70? That's actually not the worst. All things considered. Everything's good quality. It's just... yeah, they're all A. It's just they were late. Alright. We're gonna press go to the next day so it saves. But that will be it for now. Played for almost 2 hours. No, 1 hour, 45 minutes. There's lots of stuff to do, and I just have to figure out a strategy because I need another chef. I need help. But yeah. Thank you coming for out my little break. My break ended up being really long. Trying to move this over so I can do stuff. But yeah, bye!